guys, welcome back to Simply Ages YouTube channel. I know it's been a very long while since I last posted anything. I kind of set up my YouTube channel, said I was going to post regularly, and then just kind of flopped. Kind of work, obviously everything going on with the pandemic last year, it kind of just all got on top of me, and I just was not in the space to film anything. I just was a little bit overwhelmed with everything. So it's a brand new year, it's 2021, so I am back now trying to get back to regular posting. So I thought it would be a really good idea to kind of just come back and do like a 2020 summary, kind of what things that I can take into 2021 and do better with. I know that 2020 was not a good year by any means. It was something that none of us expected to happen. But despite that, I did have some good things happen to me in 2020. So I thought I'd kind of focus on those, kind of go through those with you and kind of think about what I can take from 2020, what I've learned, what I can therefore do better in 2021 and hopefully look forward to in 2021 as well. I know it's a hard thing for everyone to do right now. Obviously we're still in the middle of a lockdown, so it feels like we're no better off than we were in 2020, but hopefully it won't be for much longer. Obviously it's not going to go back to how it used to be. It will take a while to get over, but hopefully in time we'll start to see some normality kind of filter back into life. So here's me trying to obviously help you guys focus on the good things that came from 2020 and what you can obviously take into 2021. So in March we obviously went into lockdown with the pandemic and everything, and obviously a lot of us started working from home, including myself. So working from home is something that I've always kind of wanted to do, because as someone with a chronic illness, obviously working from home is really ideal for me, because if I'm having a bad day, it means that I can still get up, I can still obviously come to my desk or work from bed or whatever and still be able to go about my normal day-to-day job without having to be in the office, which is really, really beneficial for someone with a chronic illness. So obviously with going into lockdown and work from home becoming a norm for everyone as of March last year, it was really kind of good to see. Quite honestly, the company that I was working for, working from home really highlighted a lot of issues that had probably been there before, but obviously working from home and lockdown and obviously smaller staff based really highlighted was that there was some issues that I just quite frankly couldn't get over. Once those problems had kind of been highlighted to me, they didn't go away again. So I decided that during the middle of a pandemic it was a good idea to leave that job and go in search of something else. I wasn't quite sure what, but I kind of got headhunted for a job. So in August I started that new job, so that was a real highlight for me. I'm still with that company now. The company is actually based outside of the northeast, so I permanently work from home, which is a massive benefit for me. Obviously, as I just said, as someone with a chronic illness, having that ability to work from home means that even if I'm having a bad day with my mobility, I am still able to turn up for work, do my job without anybody else being none the wiser. It doesn't rely on me having an office appearance to be able to do that job, and it has made it so much better for me, because since I started in August I think I've had one day off from being ill, and that was one day that I just really couldn't work whatsoever. So working from home has really, really, really helped me in terms of obviously being able to turn up to work day in, day out. Obviously if I'm struggling mobility wise, brain fog wise, fatigue wise, it just means that I take things a little bit slower, which my company are absolutely fine with. They knew that when they brought me in, they understood that, and they are really, really understanding about that. And it is so refreshing to have that, because it's something that I haven't had before now. So obviously that was a really good highlight for me of 2020, was getting out of a job that I realised just wasn't for me, kind of finding somewhere that just understood me and kind of wanting to make the best allowances for me, and just know that I can do the job that I have been employed to do and trust me to do that from home. So yes, that's really, really good. I'm really enjoying my job. I kind of didn't imagine myself kind of being in a role that would be permanently working from home, because even after lockdown ends I will still be working from home, which, like I say, is ideal. So it's just a really, really good thing for me. I'm much more positive in my job because of that. So that's one thing. The second thing is that also due to this new job, I kind of got a little bit of a pay rise from what I was on, which means that it's allowed me to be more financially stable. I have finally come out of my overdraft on a permanent basis. I have finally achieved something that I have been wanting to do since 2 years ago. I, through no fault of my own, kind of really got put into my overdraft, and I just couldn't find a way out. My expenses versus my income just wasn't helping me get out of it. It was kind of, I would take 2 steps forward, kind of 1 step back. So I was making progress, but just not massive amounts of progress. But last year with this new job, this new pay rise, it really, really allowed me to just finally push over that last little bit to make sure that I am now fully financially stable and overdraft free, which I know, talking about this is going to be a sore subject for a lot of people, because obviously last year, obviously there are people who were furloughed, there were people who lost their jobs, there were people who got made redundant, and I cannot even begin to imagine what those people are going through. It must be so, so heartbreaking, and hopefully they have managed to find something else and kind of won't take too long to recover. So it is a sore subject at the moment, but it is something that I am personally proud of. For 2 years I have worked and worked and worked to get out of a situation that I got into through no fault of my own, and that was something that I finally achieved at the end of last year. And it is something that I'm proud of, so I do want to talk about it. But like I say, I kind of understand that it is a sore subject right now, and I just feel for anybody that just has actually been worse off through this pandemic, through the furlough scheme, through losing their job, through everything. I can only imagine how hard it's been for you, and hopefully it will get better very, very soon if it hasn't already. So the third good thing to come out of 2020 was little Theo here. So I got him in September last year because Mila is an indoor cat. Obviously she's indoors all day every day, and I felt like she could really benefit having a new friend to kind of play with and interact and keep her company during the day and when I'm out and stuff like that. So I got Theo. Now when I got Theo, I thought I was getting Thea. So I went and picked him up from the people that I was buying him from, and I was told that Theo was a girl, which was ideal because obviously I already have Mila, who is a female cat, so it was ideal for me. I was ideally looking for a female cat, so I went and picked him up and kind of got him home and got him settled and whatever else. And I found in like the coming weeks of having him that he was very boisterous, very playful, very vocal, which is something that I've not experienced in any of the female cats that I had. So I did begin to wonder at this point whether he was male, but I figured that maybe it was just a kitten phase, maybe I just got lucky with Myla and obviously the cats that I've had before that. Now I did obviously try and get him booked into the vets, but unfortunately with the pandemic going on, they did have a waiting list for people to be added into the vet system. So he didn't get his checks as soon as I would have liked to. So when I did finally get his checks in, which was I think November, so it was about 2 months after I got him, he would have been about 5 months by then. So I took him to the vets, and obviously I took him in as Thea because it was a girl cat and that was what I knew her to be. So I took her in as Thea, and the vet informed me, because obviously with the pandemic at the minute you can't go into the room as you used to. So obviously Thea went away and came out, and the vet kind of very gingerly told me that Thea was actually a boy. So that changed from being Thea to Theo. So luckily I did pick a name that was easily changeable so that it could literally just be changed from Thea to Theo. So he actually really responded better to his name when I changed it to Theo as well, which was really good. But yeah, a situation that funnily enough I didn't think I'd ever be in again, because the exact same thing happened with Myla. So when I got Myla, we were supposed to be getting Milo, and that obviously turned out to be the other way around. So I thought I was getting Milo, ended up being Myla. With her though, I could tell as soon as I got her home, I literally said, this is a girl cat, there's no way this is a boy. Her temperament, her behaviour, her whole kind of personality portrayed as a girl cat. So with Myla I knew from the offset, but with Theo I really kind of didn't. So it was a little bit of a shock to realise that he was actually a boy, but I guess that's probably one of the reasons I went for a name that was so easily changeable, because it had happened in the past and I guess subconscious was just there for me. Theo wasn't the only addition to my life last year. So obviously March we went into lockdown, which obviously lasted till like May, June. We were out for a little bit and then we kind of got put into restrictions, and then we were in lockdown again, and then restrictions, and then now we're in lockdown again. So what a lot of you single guys and girls might have found hard was dating. So obviously you can't go out for dates and meeting people in person because those restrictions were in place. So something that actually I managed to bring out of 2020 somehow was a new boyfriend. So we actually met on Hinge, which is a dating app, and we kind of got talking, and then that kind of progressed to FaceTiming. Before last year, FaceTiming someone before I met them was just never anything that kind of crossed my mind. I know some people do it, perhaps a lot of people do it, it just wasn't something that I personally, I don't know why, but didn't feel comfortable doing. So before I'd met someone, FaceTime wasn't really a thing for me, but obviously last year that was kind of the only way that you could really date someone. So obviously we were messaging and it progressed to FaceTime, and then once lockdown was lifted in June, he came through here and we met in person, and it kind of just, obviously he kept coming through here taking all precautions, like obviously when he was coming on the train with his mask and stuff like that, because obviously I am a little bit more vulnerable to the virus than other people. So he's really good, he really understood my condition and everything that's about that, especially with the virus in play. So he's been really good with precautions like that. So he kind of came through a couple of weekends from June to July, and we obviously just got to know each other a little bit better, and yeah, we kind of became a thing. So what I will say is that dating is very different in the middle of a pandemic. Obviously you can't do things the way that you're used to, but if you're open to trying new things, obviously people that you really connect with on those dating sites and those dating apps, if you really connect with them, do obviously FaceTime them, you get to know them that little bit better. Obviously if you still feel comfortable and you still want to get to know that person more, obviously that's when you can take things further. And obviously once lockdown's lifted and restrictions are lifted and whatnot, then obviously you can see where it goes. We were quite lucky in that because of last year and the way things went, when lockdown was lifted, obviously it was lifted for those couple of months, so we had those couple of months to kind of get to know each other and make sure this was what we really wanted. And then once August came and those restrictions went into play again, that was then when he came and stayed here, and he is still staying here. And so that means that we are able to continue dating, and we still do our date nights during lockdown. So we will have one Friday a month where we dress up and we kind of make things special and pretend like we're going on a night out, kind of evening meal, kind of a couple of drinks and stuff like that. So we still kind of make it so that it's new relationship type dates and stuff like that. But it has been quite eye-opening to be in that position where it is a little bit harder, but we made it through, and yeah, things are still going well. So the last thing really, I guess, that came out of 2020 is just the little home improvements that I made kind of over the space of the lockdown. Obviously being stuck at home that little bit more made me realise that there were things in my house that I just wasn't quite in love with, and I wanted to change that. So I moved a few things around, I bought some new furniture and stuff like that. And apart from my office, I think I pretty much love every room in my house now. The only reason I don't really love my office at the minute is just because it's so crowded. There's just stuff that is just everywhere because I haven't had a chance with work and obviously everything else to get sorted out. So it is a little bit cramped compared to what I would like from my office and compared to what I've had it in the past. But obviously these things take time, but otherwise I literally love every other room in the house. So obviously that is something that has come from being locked down, just generally making the space that I live in just even more cozy and more homely to be in, especially when you're stuck in there 24/7. So as for 2021, obviously as we all know, we're all in lockdown again and still, and may continue to be for the next month, couple of months. We don't know how long it's going to last. But aside from that, there were a few things in 2020 that I feel that I could have done better. And I do really want to be better with those things going into 2021. So I thought I would just kind of list these things off, just kind of put it out there so that I in some way am held to these things that I want to do better with, and then I can obviously check in later down the line and see whether I actually did achieve those things. So the first thing, and it was something that I really noticed last year, was that despite being locked down and despite being locked down on my own until about August time, I found myself actually distancing myself from my family and my friends. I found I didn't want to be around my phone. I didn't want to check in with people. I just was quite happy just sitting on the sofa with the TV in the background doing absolutely nothing. And if anything, the lockdown made my kind of keeping in touch with family and friends a lot worse. It wasn't good. I would talk to people only when they rang me, when they texted me. If not, it was kind of I left them to their own devices. And I think obviously a lot of people will have felt that last year. Obviously a lot of us will have struggled with lockdown and not being able to be social. And because you aren't being able to be social, you would think therefore that you would be better at keeping in touch with family and friends. But if you were like me and you kind of just got overwhelmed with everything because suddenly it wasn't a case of you were seeing some people here and some people there and then the rest you were in contact with over FaceTime or text or whatever, because it was everyone all on that same device, it just got so overwhelming, and it just felt like every other day I had a new person to speak to. And as someone with a chronic illness, that being social sometimes is hard, because obviously the fatigue that you can get just really makes being social a lot harder, because it tires you out a lot more quickly. So I feel like that was something that really affected me last year. And despite that, I want to try and be better with that this year. I want to try and be better at keeping in touch with my friends, not just when I'm prompted, but just because I care for these people, because obviously I love these people and these are the people that I want to be in contact with. So that's definitely one of the first things that I definitely want to improve on in 2021, is just being better connected with my friends and family. The second thing, which I'm starting to make an improvement on now, is obviously blogging and vlogging. Last year I did really well kind of going into the start of the year, and then once lockdown happened and working from home and obviously the whole old job new job scenario, it kind of just got beyond me. I basically fell out of love with everything that I had enjoyed up until that point. I was just, obviously because I continued to work throughout lockdown, throughout the pandemic, yes, I was working from home, so I wasn't being as social, but just that being at home, obviously not getting fresh air, you obviously working 9 till 5, you finish in, you make your tea, obviously you then kind of, by the time you've had your tea, you've cleared up, you're kind of tired and you're just not ready, you just don't want to do anything, you just want to chill. So I kind of fell out of love with everything that I enjoyed up until that point. And blogging and vlogging was obviously definitely one of the main things. So obviously I'm making a start already on the being better at vlogging part. Obviously I am doing this, I have got this out there, so already I'm kind of improving on that one, so hopefully that will continue. And also blogging as well, I kind of found my motivation coming back in December for that. I was hoping to get a good start on that and get everything kind of scheduled ready for January. That didn't happen. Obviously we went into the lockdown again and then I got overwhelmed again, so it didn't quite happen. But obviously I'm starting to get my motivation back, so that is a real kind of goal for me. I have my kind of goals for what I want to achieve this year with my blogging and vlogging, which I'm not going to share with you because I kind of am happy with having those goals, but if I don't achieve them I'm not going to be disappointed or upset, because at the end of the day I do this because I enjoy it. So I'm hoping that obviously I can be better with this. At the end of the day, my goal and my main goal is just that I want to post more regularly on both my blog and YouTube, because I do enjoy it. It makes me feel happy, and at the end of the day that's all we can ask for at the minute, is just making yourself happy. So with that as well, obviously I was saying that I had lost my enjoyment of most of the things that I loved. So on top of the blog and vlogging, I kind of want to go back to doing the things that I really love, and kind of just carving out time, not just finishing work and moving into a separate room and just cabbaging on the sofa. I want to kind of start making use of the time that I have and start building in me time. Self-care and self-love is something that I've preached for a while, and I kind of neglected that during last year and kind of the beginning of this year. So that is something that I really want to stop doing. So I want to make better use of that time. So going back to doing things like reading and cross stitch and photography and whatever else, just things that I have really loved that I've just lost touch with. At the end of the day, these are all times that we never expected that we would have to experience, and they're not easy. They're not gonna be a walk in the park. We are confined to our living spaces for the moment, and I don't want to see another month pass by where I could have read 2 books or done a cross stitch or put out 3 blogs or whatever. I just want to go back. Yes, I'm going to have time to just rest and do nothing and chill other than watch TV or watch a film. But I also want to start making time, because these are the things that make me happy, and happiness is a lot right now. We need that in our lives, and therefore I want to make sure that I am doing the things that I enjoy to achieve that happiness. So basically, obviously everybody comes into the year being like, new year, new me, and that's just not me. I have realised what I could have done better in 2020 despite all the hardships that we have all faced, and I just want to build on those and become a better me. I don't want a new me. I quite like who I am. I just want to be a better me and make better use of my time and go back to doing the things that I enjoy and keeping in touch with the people that I love, because that is what makes me happy. At the end of the day, if I can go out of 2021 saying that I did things that made me happy despite everything that we have all experienced, that is enough. That is enough. I have made myself happy. I have hopefully made other people happy with the hardships that we have all faced. So if there is one thing that I can say to you about this year, it is go away and think about the things that you enjoy, think about the things that you love, think about the things that make you happy, think about what they are and try to incorporate them, even if it's only once a month. Just try and do the things that make you happy, because at the end of the day, it's what's gonna get us through. So go away, think about what makes you happy and go and try and do those things, because you will hopefully not regret it at the end of the day. I'm gonna go away and do the same, which means that you should hopefully be seeing more videos and more blogs over on Simply AJ, which I will link down below if you haven't already checked that out. And I will see you in the next video. Bye!